Hello and welcome back to the definitive Starship review series without access to a proper table. That scared me. Well, today we are taking a look at the Scimitar. It's so shiny, like a Reman in the dark. It's so shiny, but it's dark so you can't see. What? Yes, Shinzon's ship from Nemesis. Shinzon's ship from Nemesis, which is surprisingly shiny. And very engraved. But of course, I'm getting ahead of myself because before we get into the review, I have to say that I am part of the Eaglemoss affiliate program, which means that if you choose to purchase this model because of this video, there's a link in the description. That is an affiliate link, meaning I will get a 7% commission on the sale of this model. I'm allowed to say whatever the heck I want about these ships, but just be aware that there's a monetary incentive for me to tell you to go buy this ship. And I did it all in one take, except I forgot that I just added the fact that I also purchased these ships with my own money. Dang it, one day I will do it. And yes, before we take a look at this ship much farther, we are going to do our normal size comparisons. Compared to the only Enterprise not in a box or 300 miles away, the Shinzon is about this big, and of course the Disco Prize XL, which this is, stands in for the original XL and the TMP XL, which are all the same size. Over in Discovery Land, the wingspan is approximately the same size as the D7. I am rather limited in the choices I have to make these comparisons. As perhaps a more pertinent example, the wingspan is pretty comparable to the Derritax XL, which these two do go lovely together, of course, both being vaguely Romulan, Reman-y, and in fact the wingspan and the whole model does line up quite nicely with the Scimitar and then the sort of main body section of the Derritax. And finally, in the Universe collection, I wonder what the longest time it's going to take for someone to realize that the Romulan flagship is in fact under this right now. In fact, hang on. Yeah, that's more hidden. Okay, fine, if you want to be serious about it. But yes, the Scimitar, an incredibly detailed model, just in terms of the etching alone, like, good God. Before I forget, I do want to discuss the composition of the ship. So this kind of main body section right here, is metal. Yeah, there we go. It is metal. I think there's just a weird bit on the top here that is plastic, but it feels metal. It's got the cold bit. It sounds like metal. There you go. These nacelle bits are plastic, and the wings, as you can see there by how I can bend them, are plastic. I could definitely snap them if I wanted to, even if I bent with them and wasn't too careful. It's not like they're fragile. This has fallen off its stand before. They've got a bit of weight, like give, and it can rest on its own. But it's like, as I said in the intro, I saw this start to slip. My heart skipped a beat. Like, I know it's not gonna break, but I am also not gonna demonstrate how it can fall off the stand. Like, it is one that makes me nervous, unjustly, but it does make me nervous. Also, can we just, while I'm here, create that scene from Nemesis? There we go. That was poorly done, but yeah, that silhouette, I've got to do it. So now that I've procrastinated looking at the model for as long as possible for some reason, yeah, the main thing about the Scimitar, not the only thing, but by far the main thing, is this etching detail, which I'm not going to cover every square inch of, but it's just everywhere. There is hyper detailed etching, layering, stuff on top of each other, etching within etching. If the Federation uses Aztecing, then what is this? Like, on the micro level, you can see all these different patterns that are just insane. Look at that. And then on the macro level, you can still see the wingspan, kind of these main sections, the longer ones. And it's a sculpted model. And I hope it was CG in the movie, because whoever would have had to make a physical model of this was not paid enough. The underside of the wings are very similar, different design shape, but just look, here we go. We're now under the main body. Just There we go, under the main body. And the detailing work is incredible. You'll probably notice, here's a great one where it's showing up on the camera. There's some specks of like a blue color. Here we go, that's even better. It's more than just the etching. And if you can kind of get past the shine, which might be a bit hard with the film light, and look around, like there is a base of this model that's a really light gray, from what I can tell. There's then, I think, the etching work is done in a much darker gray, which is kind of the one you immediately see when you look at this. You go, that gray. But then if you look closer, there's bits of highlight in speckling of blue, which is a really nice effect. Like, you don't notice it too much, but it helps the shine, the texturing, the scaling. I'm not an expert in miniatures, but it's a very subtle and nice effect. I think it's helping give a sheen as well. Kind of looking up here, if you can get them in the right angles, which is hard to do in a viewfinder. It really makes it have almost like a silvery, metally kind of feel on the plastic as well, which is very nicely done. Looking in the side, there's more detail than just etching. You've got almost doors, very mechanical, standard Greebly kind of things. Very aggressive posture and insect-like as well. This is a mean ship with the teeth. You've got, I assume, windowing or some sort of impulsy light bit. And down here as well, just similar. Whoops, I've poked the camera. Similar stuff. You can see grading. And of course, copious amounts of etching. What reminds me of is, in some sort of prison movie or maybe gang movie, it especially like a Japanese gang or something where the tattoos are the stereotype. It reminds me of like incredibly tattooed people. You got the bald buff guy or something who looks real angry. That's what it reminds me of. It's that, the ship. On the rear view, you've got loads of openings. I've just seen, how are these connected? The top coverings connected to these sort of engine bits. Like, there's a lot of delicate connections and stuff. It looks like it should be a lot more fragile than it is, honestly. Like, it looks like it should be a new Bajoran solar sailor. In the model, it gives it such an interesting 3D... I don't know what you want to call it. Disconnected's not quite the right word, but layered, interesting... Folding is what I want. It looks like this ship should be able to fold out, which it can. It's the Scimitar. The model can't, but the Scimitar can. And I feel like it's almost in the process of folding out and getting about like 3 times bigger than it currently is, which is a very nice look. Even these sort of weapons, the guns, are quite nicely detailed if the camera will focus on them. And almost vulture-like. Especially if it was more blurry. Like, I'd believe, color this slightly different. Here's the wing of a vulture. There's its head. There's the other wing going back, its sort of body bit. There we go. That's a vulture right there. Like, if you just crop it correctly. I don't know if that's intentional design or not. But, and as I can see, that'll bend it. Not permanently, I don't think. But yeah, you can even support the whole weight of the model on the wing, which is quite nice. I suppose you can feel there's not really any weight in the wings holding it by the body, but it's got a nice weight to it in that body. Maybe a bit lighter than average by volume, but just because the wings are so thin, I think is the reason. Like, if you chop off the wings, it's probably about a standard size model. Yes, I'm grabbing this one. Yeah, probably about a standard size model, and it feels like it, maybe a bit more. And one last close-up, I think, is we just get inside this mouth with weird torpedo gun things. I'm not quite sure what to call them. But yeah, most of this model, as we look up at the bridge sections here, most of this model is this fantastic etching work, which I may have actually showed off every inch of. That's beautifully done. But yeah, it's such an interesting and detailed model. Whoops, and unlike these stands, if you were thinking you might be interested in it, I'm sure you're right. If it's the Scimitar, and it's very well done, what more can you say? It is slightly unusually shiny, I will say. Like, I don't recall the Scimitar being so shiny, but it's still a fantastic model. And so I think that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions on this model, be sure to ask them in the comments. If you want me to review a specific model, just ask. I'm more likely to have it than not, and I will review it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.